Welcome to the First Read Ultimate Spider-Man podcast, where we break down Bendis' iconic run on Ultimate Spider-Man, issues 1 through 160, and Earth 1610. I'm Zach, and with me today is Central Indiana Youth Basketball Assistant Coach of the Year, John Opat.
Yeah.
Congrats on a successful season, Coach.
Thanks. Yep, our postseason tournament here starts, what's today, Tuesday? So it starts in 2 days on Thursday.
Let's go.
I think we've got a pretty tough team ahead of us.
Well, I bet that's what the other side's saying too.
It probably is.
It's a real clash of the Titans.
Yep, in the first round.
Yeah. So what's up, dude? How's your day?
It's cold as outside.
I'm glad you said something, because I was going to... I know on a podcast, generally don't want to hear about the weather, but...
I just assume everyone is experiencing this, and they will, it's brutal. I'm just a wimp, I think.
I heard they shut down the highways in Houston because, people in the South don't know how to drive in snow.
Wow. I do know that when they get an inch of snow in the South, they have to shut down the roads.
They go crazy. Yeah.
That's so strange.
So on the subject of cars and winter, I had the craziest day.
What? Okay.
So we woke up yesterday, which was MLK Day. So Shyla and I had it off, and Alyssa was going to go into work, and her car wouldn't start because it was 3 degrees.
Oh my gosh.
It was actually blinking with its lights, not the idiot lights, but the dome lights was blinking, and the car was beeping at her.
Lights?
The things on the dash.
Okay.
Have you never heard that term?
No. And wait, what are the other lights?
The dome light.
So the light inside the car.
Yeah, I mean, they're both inside the car.
Well, you don't want to leave that one on.
Well, it wasn't left on. It was blinking, and her car was beeping at her. And I was like, I'm not a car guy, but it's saying, don't drive me. And so she called off. And then this morning, it did it again. So she had to get a ride to work. And then I got to my job, and one of my coworkers was supposed to take one of our company cars to go do some errand. And it wouldn't start because it was too cold. So they were like, well, we've got this other company car. Take that one. And it wouldn't start because it was too cold. And then I got a call from...
They're really giving the government the best resources here.
Yeah. And then I got a call from my sister who's like, hey, my car won't start. Can you come give me a jump?
Oh my gosh.
It was so cold.
This is insane.
Just this is anecdotally, I know of I don't know, 8 cars that I'm around often.
That's a lot.
4 of them didn't. I mean, they're not all mine, but the 2 company cars that I would ever drive, Alyssa's car, my sister's car. The only cars that I know of that worked are mine, my parents, and Shyla's. And 3 of those 4 are kept in the garage.
Wow. I just put mine in the garage not 20 minutes ago.
Yeah. It's stupidly cold.
Have you
The cars are revolting.
Has it ever, sometimes when it's really cold and it's, still dark and you're going into work and whatnot, have you ever had this thought, gosh, I wish my car wouldn't start right now so I could just, text in and be my car, I can't come into work today, My car isn't working. Nothing I can do.
Only every time.
I know.
Actually, what I really hope for is I'll just wake up and look out my window, and it'll be 4 feet of snow to where I couldn't even get to my car. And that way I don't have to go outside and be cold at all. I can just get out of my bed, look out the window, and get immediately back in bed.
Yeah.
And never be cold.
Yeah. Yep.
What were we saying before we hopped on? No one actually wants to work. Times 10 when it's cold.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I was telling Zach earlier about my teachers pay teachers racket that I'm going to try to run here to make some extra money selling teacher lesson plans. And he was saying Shyla needs to get in on that too.
Yeah. if you don't sell it to them directly, they'll just get them on the streets.
That's true. Okay, so Zach, before we get into Spider-Man stuff, you have to tell us all about your New York trip. We're recording this pod on a Tuesday, which is so
shit.
early in the week.
Yeah, you guys will get it while I'm there. I'm thinking about, honestly, just like storming into the Marvel office. Like, don't you know who I am? I demand a meeting with Jonathan Hickman.
Yeah, they'll probably already have you on the books because they'll be listening to this pod, so they'll know. They'll be expecting you.
Right, and if they don't, I'll cause a scene and get thrown out. One way or another, they're going to know who I am.
Yep.
Yeah, so if you guys ever want to go to New York for like indoor stuff and it be super cheap, go in like the middle of January because our hotel is in Times Square. Broadway shows are like buy one, get one free.
So which are you going? Maybe you said last episode, but are you going to see certain shows?
We are seeing the Book of Mormon, which is supposed to be funny.
Oh my gosh, I bet that'll be awesome.
Yeah, it's made by the South Park guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have reservations for Tavern on the Green. Do you remember that? It showed up in our series.
We talked about that. That's where Peter and MJ's fake nightmare date was. Did I get that right?
Yep. It's also in Ghostbusters.
Oh my gosh.
Very famous restaurant.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing, dude. Okay. Are you going to get your dry aged steak?
I don't know if they have. Well,
I'm
actually,
sure, if it's like
actually
a really
probably
nice
not.
place, I'm sure that they will.
No, so probably not actually because we're going for restaurant week where they have like a fixed price menu. So we're going to order from the $60 fixed price menu and just get whatever they offer.
Dude, I have to create something with the name Tavern on the Green golf related. I know we talked about this last time it came up, but that is a perfect name for like a little pro shop bar on a golf course.
Apparently there's 2 Tavern on the Greens, and one of them is on and I think it's unrelated. I think they stole their name, but it's a restaurant on a golf course in Chicago.
Of course it is.
So you could go to that one pretty easily.
Okay. And that's not the same restaurant, just another location? That's just like a stolen...
I think it's a stolen one. Yeah, I think...
I can dig it.
They just ripped the name off.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. You have so much in common. You can ask them how they did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it'll be fun. And I'll get us some variant copies of Ultimate Spider-Man #1 from Midtown Comics.
Yes. Oh my gosh, this is going to be awesome.
Yep.
Is it just you and Shyla?
And her 2 sisters.
Nice.
Yep. Looking forward to it.
Nice. All right. Are you coming in hot with anything else?
We're
still only at 9 minutes. So.
Yeah. I'll save it for the end.
Okay.
I do have something else.
Okay,
Remind
good.
me.
Save it for the end.
Okay. All right. So with that, we'll throw it over.
Oh, wait a second.
Oh,
I have something else.
Oh my god!
I just barely remembered. Yeah, thanks for asking, Zach.
Glad we caught that.
No, well, I mean, we are the #1 sports podcast for comic book lovers and the #1 comic book podcast for sports lovers. So, and this past week was the NFL playoffs. So I thought you could give us your opinion on all the games that happened, just like quick snippets.
Oh gosh, let me remember them all. No one was able to watch the Chiefs game. That was kind of interesting.
The Chiefs-Dolphins game? Oh, yeah, on Peacock? Yeah,
because it was silly. Only on Peacock.
Oh my gosh, dude.
They got to knock that off.
That was absurd.
That was Bush League.
Even though I found a Peacock login. But it was still absurd. I felt bad for people who couldn't watch it.
What was the team that shouldn't have won?
The Packers beat the Cowboys.
Packers beat the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Who beat the Eagles? That was some other
dude. The
Buccaneers.
Just beat the Eagles. The Eagles just look.
What the hell was that?
Man,
that was crazy.
I mean, I just don't know.
Nick Sirianni dedicated that massive loss to Frank Reich.
He might have to go.
That's what they're saying.
They finished really bad. They just look so soft.
As a Colts fan, I love to see it because it makes Shane Steichen look even more like a great coach.
Well, I wonder if Sirianni will come to the Colts. Maybe if he gets fired under Steichen. Probably not.
I don't think so.
I don't really care either. They're all just names.
What do you think about the playoffs? You have any thoughts?
Let's see. Yeah, I'm disappointed in the Eagles because they lost me a bet because I expected the Eagles to play well eventually in the playoffs. They only had to win by 3 against the Bucks. But they just look so bad, and I can't believe the Cowboys lost. And
you think Dak is gone?
No, I think it would be silly to blow up the Cowboys. Maybe get a new coach if you just don't. I mean, Mike McCarthy's never been that good of a coach, I don't think. But they're good.
Yeah.
I mean, they just choke.
I think it would be dumb to get rid of Dak, but as a Trey Lance dynasty bag holder, I kind of
move to Trey Lance.
I kind of need something really chaotic to happen in Dallas.
Yeah. Let's see. Tua looked really bad in the snow. That was pretty expected that the Dolphins would just come out unable to play. It was the coldest game ever. And I don't know. I hope the Lions. I'll be rooting for the Lions. Probably the Lions, the 49ers, or the Ravens would be the 3 teams that I'd be happy seeing win.
It's hard to dislike the Lions.
Yeah. Yeah, that was fun watching them beat Stafford. I was like, man, if Stafford goes down and wins this game on them, Goff is just never going to hear the end of it. I mean, that city is just going to be mentally obliterated.
Yeah. As easy as it is to hate Nick Sirianni or Arthur Smith, I feel like Dan Campbell is the opposite end of that spectrum where it's it doesn't matter who you are, you like that coach.
Yeah. Yep. And so let's see, who do they play now? They get the Bucks, right? That should be an easy one. They should get past them.
They're cruising to the NFC Championship game.
Yeah.
Dude, if we see a Lions Super Bowl,
I know.
That'd be crazy.
Awesome. I have a buddy that 3 years ago, not even, probably 2 years ago, he and my other friend, their names are Steve and Ted. You've probably met them, Zach, but none of the listeners will know who these people are. But they made a bet that was sometime in the next 10 years, the Lions will win the Super Bowl. And this is year 3 probably now into the bet. So it might even be a 5-year bet, but either way, it's pretty, this is a good opportunity for him here. And it was a $200 bet over the course of 10 years or something like that,
That's looking smart now.
Yeah, it is. Very sharp.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm out.
Okay, well that was fun. So let's throw it over to the Better Business Bureau and get into these issues.
Every business says they're better, but the ones that earn and display the BBB seal back it up. It instantly identifies businesses that are committed to operating with integrity, honoring promises, and telling the truth. Makes you wonder why every business doesn't have it. So look for it, because it's looking out for you. That's why it's the sign of a better business. And find a better business anytime at bbb.org.
And we're back.
Let's go.
We're back, and we're going to get into issue 86 of Ultimate Spider-Man. This is the beginning of the Silver Sable arc. And it's written by Bendis, penciled by Bagley, inked by Scott Hanna, colored by Justin Ponser. That's a new name for us.
Yeah, it is.
And lettered by Chris Iliopoulos. Can you tell the difference in the art when we change inkers or colorers?
The biggest change I can see is our characters that we know look slightly different. I don't think I can tell from just a panel by panel, but I look at Mary Jane and I'm Mary Jane looks different in this, issue than she always looks.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It was weird when we did the year in review and I had to go and pull art from like the very early issues because it looked like a completely different series, even though it's the same penciler. So, anyways, we open on the Wreckers, which there's no way you would know who those are because this is the first time we're seeing them, but they're like the wrecking crew. They're just guys that do wrecking stuff.
Their hands are like crazy proportioned.
Yeah. Well, they're kind of situated as if they're like bad guys about to fight, but then that ends up being like fake. But they're in a damage control truck standing among building wreckage saying, "Somebody call about cleanup." And we see the word Roxxon written several places, and a man in a suit comes up to them and says, yeah. And we get an image that looks like a small boat is flipped over onto dry land and a large ship has crashed into the pier, and several buildings by the waterfront have been damaged or destroyed. And
well explained, Zach.
Thank you.
That's exactly what it looks like.
Well, that's what they pay me for. And the wrecker guys start asking the Roxxon man what happened, and he recounts the story. So they had been expecting a cargo ship to arrive, but when it docked, it exploded. And we see a flashback, and Omega Red is on the ship among the flames. John, do you know who Omega Red is?
I don't, but I'm hoping that this is the guy that's like on fire in the picture, and that's not just a dead guy.
Yeah, he's
the
weird-looking dude. He's a super villain. He's an X-Men character, so it's kind of weird to see him fighting Spider-Man here.
Oh, so on the previous page, the guy who looks like he's in the explosion, that's not an Omega Red guy that's alive. That's just a dead guy who's incinerated by the blast.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
You would know Omega Red if you're looking at him. He's the one
now that I see him, it's the big guy with the Omega symbol on his chest.
That's it. Yep. And the metal tentacles and like the fish-looking face.
Yeah, I was wondering who this guy is. I thought he kind of looked like an Osborn goblin. When his close up on his face.
Yeah, he definitely looks weird.
Yeah, yeah.
And he starts villain monologuing and asking who wants to be the survivor to tell the tale of how badass he was. And just then Spidey...
I would definitely want to be that person.
Yeah, I would volunteer to be the
like,
survivor. Dude, I would volunteer so hard.
I will tell them you are so awesome.
Just write it down and I'll add my own little personal flourishes.
Yeah.
But Spidey webs one of Omega Red's metal tentacles and swings in to kick him while singing the theme to the Love Boat. And Omega Red...
I got a little... This took me out of it a little bit. Usually when Spider-Man quips, I'm like, good quips. This one, are we supposed to expect that Peter Parker, 15-year-old, knows the theme song to the Love Boat, a show from whenever, I don't know when that is. And I'm a pretty big pop culture nerd, so...
John, I had the exact same thought.
Did you really?
This close to saying it. Yeah, I'm like... Because I was not actually 100% sure this is the theme song to the Love Boat. I'm just like, what else could it be?
I assumed exactly. That's exactly what I thought.
I don't know how this tune goes at all.
Me neither.
And Omega Red says, "I can't believe I got sideswiped like that." And Peter quips, "I can't believe I almost wore that exact same outfit today. Boy, that would have been embarrassing." And Omega Red says he thought Spider-Man would be taller and says, "What are you, 12?" And Peter
this
says...
really goes back to every single person that meets him realizes he's a kid immediately, apart from Black Cat.
Yeah, you're really building your case against her, huh? Another thing I realized after we stopped recording last week, so we talked about how he went from... Mary Jane, who's a teenager who he has chemistry with, to Black Cat, who's an adult who can defend herself, and then Kitty Pryde is like a
both. Yeah.
Yeah. There's another funny comparison to be made, which is he went from a cat to a kitty. Just realized that.
I wonder if they realize that.
I mean, it just happens so organically, and those characters were already named. I feel like it's just a happy coincidence.
Yeah. Okay, so, wait. Okay, Zach.
Yes.
Who is Omega Red?
Okay. I read a lot of X-Men and listen to X-Men podcasts, and I'm going to have such a hard time explaining this.
That is crazy.
Dude,
I've never heard that before.
He is such a complicated character, and he doesn't even matter.
Oh
he's
my
just
God, no, he's not. Just give me like a 10-second rundown on him.
Okay, he's a Soviet Wolverine villain who has a similar metal to Wolverine, but it's actually worse, and it like poisons him, and he has like mutant death spores.
Okay, so he's like a real person. He's not like an alien beast thing.
He's like a mutant that
like
I think also got experimented on. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, man, I feel bad for this guy.
No, don't. He sucks.
Can Spider-Man just give him a break?
I'm pretty sure he's also like a serial killer.
Well, if you were raised in the same conditions, who's to say you would be any different?
You know what? You got me there. We'll never be able to test it.
Yep.
So Omega Red catches Peter and throws him into the sky, saying, "Can't stand stupid, corny jokes. Can't stand it." And he turns to return to killing people. And as Peter flies into the sky, he shoots multiple webs onto things on the ground and, like, slingshots himself back down to Earth, where he crashes into Omega Red's back. And so now they made a crater. Omega Red is lying in the crater that he and Peter just made. And he sees Peter standing over him, holding up a forklift. And Peter says, "You know, Pillsbury Doughboy, I'd ask what you're doing, but honestly, I don't think I care." And he smashes the forklift on top of him and asks if anyone has an Advil. And John, I'm really impressed that he somehow knew that that wouldn't kill him. Because without knowing that Omega Red is, like, made of metal and, like, pretty invulnerable...
This would definitely kill a normal person.
It would squash a normal person like a bug. Even a super person who's, like, a little bit stronger. That's a whole forklift.
Yep, and he threw it down.
Yeah.
Peter's getting angry.
And so back in the present, the Roxxon guy says...
Why is he there? Or is that like the story that we're reading?
Yeah, I guess he was just swinging by. We also don't know why Omega Red was there.
Why was Omega Red there is what I was wondering. Because what happened, like the big ship crashed and Omega Red just hopped out of the crash and then Peter Parker showed up and they fought.
Yeah, his plan doesn't really make sense. If he was already on the ship, why wait for it to get to land to blow it up? It just... I think it's funny that Peter says, "I don't know what you're up to and I don't care." And I think that's supposed to tell us readers.
Bad detective work.
Just ignore it. Don't worry about it.
Bad superheroing.
Well, you know, that's why Batman's the world's greatest detective and not Spider-Man. So back in the present day, the Roxxon guy says he has never seen anything like it. And the record guy is like, "Omega Red." And the Roxxon guy is like, "Look, I didn't come up with his name." And he says Spider-Man scurried off after that, and S.H.I.E.L.D. came to pick up Omega Red. And in the background, we see a fruit truck.
Well, we know we'll see him again. Huh?
Yeah, if S.H.I.E.L.D. has him, he's out next week.
Yeah.
In the background, we see a fruit truck parked on the street. And inside the truck is a woman secretly recording the conversation that's happening between the two men. And she says into her earpiece, "Sir?" "Yes, Spider-Man." That's confirmed. And we see that she's talking to a Mr. Roxxon, a shadowy businessman in an office. He says this is the second time in a month Spider-Man has stopped an attack on his company. And he asks about Omega Red, and the woman says he's in S.H.I.E.L.D. custody, so even she couldn't get to him. And at this point I'm thinking, well, have you tried? Because if you tried, you'd probably successfully get to him. They're just assuming that Shield
Yeah.
custody is hard to break in and
go
out
ring
of.
the doorbell.
Right. He'll probably be the one to answer
Yeah.
it. He was already breaking out. And Mr. Roxxon says, well, Spider-Man isn't. I'd like to talk to this Spider-Man.
I want to see a comic that's like, it's just like a spin-off of like, you know, the bad guys, like Justin Hammer or this guy and the goons, and they have to break them out. And have you seen that It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia episode where they're breaking in to like steal the vase?
Oh, yes.
I
love
they're
that.
just all trying to sneak in, and they're like the plumber for S.H.I.E.L.D. that they hired, or like the pizza delivery guy. They're like, we got a pizza for Nick Fury.
I'm a Swedish plumber. I'm here to fix your pipes.
That's good.
That's a great episode.
Yeah.
Honestly, that whole season is great.
That is. Yeah. Oh, man.
So Mr. Roxxon says, well, Spider-Man isn't in S.H.I.E.L.D. custody, and I'd like to talk to him. He knows who's attacking my company, and I want to know what he knows and how he knows it. And we get a flashback to 2 weeks ago.
This seems so convoluted to me. Like, why now Roxxon is going after Spider-Man? Because they're not even like... They're just like, Spider-Man has been there and stopped 2 attacks on my company. So therefore, he must know who's doing the attacks. What are you talking about? He's like stopping everything all the time, you know? Like, I just don't... I'm not so sure I really understand why they want to talk to Spider-Man to begin with here, you know? It's not like they think he's doing the attacking.
Yeah. You know, when you really dissect it, it doesn't make sense, but we're just
okay, we're
pressing
just
on.
Yeah, okay, just press on.
Yeah.
That's not that important.
You know, just because their thinking is like flawed doesn't mean people in the real world don't think flawed things and act on it.
The police have stopped... I guess that might be true. If you're like, the police have stopped these 2 robberies. They must know who's doing the robbing. They probably do, actually. So
yeah, they have the robbers.
That works.
Checks out. So he wants to meet Spider-Man, and we get a flashback to 2 weeks ago when some agent named Chen is patrolling on a rooftop looking for Spider-Man. He just posted up on a random roof somewhere in New York and thought if I wait long enough, he'll swing by.
I actually kind of like this, that they've got people on like different rooftops that are just like casually waiting to see him swing by, and then he swings by and they're like, oh, we just got him, he's going this way. I'm like, you could probably track Spider-Man like that, because he's not really being inconspicuous swinging around, you know?
You could also do the same thing from the ground, probably.
Yeah, you probably could. You probably could.
But whatever, he has a better vantage point. So he sees Spider-Man swing by and he calls it in on his earpiece, and a helicopter starts following Spider-Man. And this is the part where I'm like, you had a helicopter? Why did you need a guy on a roof?
Yeah.
A helicopter's on a higher roof. But it starts following Spider-Man to try and see where he goes, but they're dumb idiots, and Peter shakes them and changes out of costume in an alleyway and walks off in his civilian clothes. And so that was 2 weeks ago.
They see Spider-Man swing into an alleyway, and 2 seconds later they see a kid walk out of it, and they're like, we lost him. We don't know where he went.
It's like the, hey, Spider-Man just stole that guy's pizza scene. So that was 2 weeks ago. Now 1 week ago, we get a flashback, and Chen is on a 7-Eleven, which is very funny because that's like a 1-story building. Everyone would see him. He's not hiding.
It would, yeah.
And he sees Spider-Man again.
This would be very noticeable, a man standing on top of a 7-Eleven with binoculars looking out.
Listeners, do the First Read Ultimate Spider-Man Challenge. This is our viral TikTok challenge we're going to start. Climb a 7-Eleven in your town and stand there with binoculars and see how long it takes for you to get noticed.
Yeah. Whoever can stand there the longest wins.
Yeah, and then I don't know, can we get like Mr. Beast to go in on a prize or something?
If you guys send a picture standing on a 7-Eleven, we'll send you a Funko Pop.
and put it on the Instagram.
Yep.
I've actually climbed. Okay, funny story. When I was in high school, I did that. I climbed a Burger King in my hometown.
You're such a scoundrel.
I really was. I was always getting up to like no good things, but not like the worst things. You know, like other kids were doing drugs and having sex, and I was like climbing Burger Kings.
One time, my buddies and I put a bunch of like bubble bath in like a fountain in front of a neighborhood. So it just exploded in like bubbles. You know, there were just bubbles everywhere.
That's good.
That's just good old fashioned fun right there.
Yeah, people would do that at my college's fountain.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was funny. You wouldn't expect it, but the roof of a Burger King kind of smells like. And then we could hear the workers underneath us, and it's kind of like muffled, like Charlie Brown teacher talk. But we hear them say, "I think there's someone on the roof." And it's like 2 a.m.
That would be so funny. Oh my god, dude. They're probably shitting their pants. I would be so scared if it was like 2 a.m. and I like heard someone stomping around on my roof and I can hear like muffled conversations through it.
I'm just imagining, I mean, it was like the graveyard shift at the Burger King out by the highway. Like, imagine like smoking a doobie before your shift starts, and then you go in and you're just in the kitchen for like 10 minutes and you're hearing footsteps above you, but you're like, should I mention this to anyone else? Is this really happening? Oh yeah, Chen, the 7-Eleven.
Yep.
He's somehow right across the street from Midtown High, and he sees Spider-Man swing by, and they're like, where'd he come from? And he's like, well, I think maybe this high school. And so we cut back to present day, where a disguised surveillance van is parked outside of Midtown High. And one of the creeps in the van says, if I have to look at one more of these high school hotties for one more second, gross. Why'd they hire this guy?
Why'd they write that line?
Yeah. Totally unnecessary.
It's so funny. It's not like it's real life where you just happen to like catch him saying that. They made a conscious decision to be like, I want to put this character in there and I want to make him a sleazeball in one line. Let's do it.
It's like Bendis was like, you know what? Pedophiles exist in this universe too. And a helicopter over the school sees Peter on the roof and tells them he just dropped behind the dumpsters. And a mysterious blonde woman with her face hidden says, take him. And the agents close in and tase the person behind the dumpster, then grin at each other and say they're getting a bonus for this. And we cut to a dark warehouse later that night, and Peter is tied to a chair, unconscious, with a hoodie over his face. And
did you think the first time you read this that there was any chance that that was him?
Well, John, now the listeners don't think so because.
Oh, okay. Oh my God, I ruined everything, Zach.
Well, yeah. If the boot fits. Yes.
Okay, but well, I just they do a good job of like not showing his face as they're like tasing him and capturing him and all of this stuff. So I think you're like supposed to know it's not him, kind of, but I don't know. Maybe it is him, Zach. Yes. I don't know. Let's keep reading.
Smart guy over here's got some ideas. So I said Peter is tied to the chair with a hoodie over his face.
He is, yeah.
And the kidnappers are looking through his wallet, and they say he's only 16, which I think it's good storytelling. I think it's nice if that's our first clue that something's amiss, because we know Peter's not 16 yet. He's 15.
Oh.
And they are looking him up online, and they say his record's clean, job after school, his grades suck, nothing out of the ordinary. And I think grade sucking should also be an indication because, you know, Peter misses classes and stuff, but he's smart. Like, his grades probably aren't that bad.
Yeah.
Yep. And the ladies, like, wake him up, and they break smelling salts beneath his nose to wake him up.
Have you ever done smelling salts?
Never.
Neither have I. I like, it's one of those things I kind of want to try, but I don't know why I would ever try. I don't even know what they are. But
Yeah, I don't know how they work or what effect they have on the body.
Either. I don't either.
You just see them in movies, really.
Listeners, write in. What do smelling salts do? If you've ever done them for like football or something.
Where do you even buy them?
Yeah. Listeners, if you were to sell Zachary smelling salts, how much would you sell them to us for?
Hey kid, what's a gram? And so he wakes up and Silver Sable, that's the sexy blonde lady that we've been watching, says, "Good morning, Spider-Man." And we see a very confused Flash Thompson looking at her. What? Oh my god.
I think he's like in love.
I think he's confused.
Yeah, probably. That too.
Are we projecting a bit, John? Are we simping for the female fictional characters?
I'm not. I actually, Zach, I don't even know who the hell this lady is. It seems like she hasn't done anything. I don't know why she is special enough to like get a nickname, because I haven't seen her do anything this whole issue yet, you know? But I think that's how Flash is looking at her. He's like, "Oh, mama."
Well, I mean, a picture paints 1,000 words. Art is meant to be, interpretive, but I think he's just bewildered.
Okay.
And she tells him they're not going to hurt him. He's just a hard man to find, so they had to resort to these desperate methods. And he's like, "What did you call me?" And he tells her he's not Spider-Man, and his name is Flash Thompson, and he goes to high school. And she's like, "We know. It's okay. You can drop the secret identity shtick. We know who you are." And Flash asks if this is a prank and if he's going to be on MTV. And for the kids that are listening to this, there used to be a show called Punk'd on MTV.
With Ashton Kutcher.
Yeah. And this kind of stuff. I mean, not this kind of stuff, but like other stuff. Funnier stuff than this would happen. And people would be like, "Am I on Punk'd?"
One time, they scratched John Dorian, what's his real name? Zach Braff's car. And Zach Braff got all angry. And then they were like, "You're on Punk'd, man." Wow, what a show, Zach. Truly pushed the lines of comedic boundaries.
That's great. Do you remember the YouTube parody of it, Kicked in the Nuts?
I feel like somewhere in my memory I can like think of that, but
this guy would wear like a plumber's jumpsuit and like an orange afro wig, and he would just like come up to people or like pose as like the pizza delivery man or whatever, and he'd just kick them in the nuts, and they'd have like a canned applause, from a studio audience, and the people would start to get mad, and then he'd point at the camera and he'd be like, my friend, you'd be kicked in the nuts. And they'd smile and laugh and shake his hand, and be like, "I love that show."
Wow, that's really funny, actually.
Yeah, just
that's
like
great.
Mocking how people would go along with anything if you tell them it's for TV.
That's great.
I think Family Guy actually ripped it off too. And so Flash is like telling her he's not Spider-Man, and she's like, "No, you really are." And she's getting frustrated. And she instructs her men to stand him up. And then she kicks him right in the chin and knocks him out cold. And then she glares at her men and says, "That is not Spider-Man," as the issue ends.
It's awesome to realize I'm not talking to a superhero. I'm just talking to a normal 16-year-old boy. Time to boot him in the head and knock him out cold.
She sauced him.
Yeah.
Okay, John, what did you think of this one?
I liked it in that, it was like a good read, but why is Silver Sable like the main? Why is this issue named after Silver Sable? She hasn't done anything except beat up a 16-year-old boy.
That's pretty funny. Hey, last episode, we spent way too long talking about how much we found it funny that there was a bully beating up a presumably 16-year-old kid.
That's true.
Why is she any different? It's
16-year-old
funnier.
kids are dorks.
It's funnier when a grown adult beats up a 16-year-old.
But I thought that this was a good one. You know, yeah, it's really setting up some stuff for the next one. So, what did you think?
You sound like Daryl from The Office when he tries to record all of his interviews ahead of time, and he's like, "Man, this person has really gotten himself into a predicament." Yeah, this is a good issue. It's really setting some stuff up.
I'm kind of having a hard time remembering exactly what happens.
Oh Lord.
Omega Red just comes in and then they try to kidnap Spider-Man and then they accidentally get Flash. It's good. Good fun.
How was that hard to remember? You got it.
Yep.
All right.
What did you think?
I give it 7 out of 10 spider flashes, and I couldn't have said it any better than you did.
Yeah. Okay. I'm good with a 7 out of 10 spider flashes.
Okay.
Are those like a Spider-Man in menopause? They don't get hot flashes; they get spider flashes.
That was good. I would continue the joke, but I don't know enough about menopause. It's funny.
No, surely that's for
spiders.
Surely that's for Flash Thompson being Spider-Man. That's probably a thing, isn't it? Spider Flash.
Yeah, there's always been a running undercurrent of wouldn't it be funny if he wore Spider-Man's suit? Wouldn't it be funny if people thought he was Spider-Man? What if Flash Thompson got bit instead of Spider-Man? It's a thing.
What if?
I want to live in that world. Do you know how many
Gwen Stacy would probably be alive?
Can you imagine how strong the wedgies he would give in that world would be?
Do you think he would just be an even bigger bully? He doesn't use his powers for anything other than just picking on dweebs.
Yes.
He just shoves them all into lockers a little bit extra hard.
They pop out through the class next door. I also think he would break every record of every sport at Midtown High and then live the rest of his life with superpowers, just coasting off of being the former star athlete.
Honestly, that's how I might live if I had superpowers. I might just be a professional athlete and just only use my powers to a little bit of an extent so nobody notices. I just am a peak athlete, but I'm not anything special,
Yeah. You could be the greatest baseball player in the world, but really you're just going to be the second best pinch hitter in the majors.
Definitely.
Yeah. That's smart.
Yep.
All right.
Okay, so 7.5 and 7. Pretty
then
good.
At the end, there's a bonus story, part 1 of 6, Visions by Mark Miller.
Yeah, I didn't read it.
John Romita Jr. We're not going to bother with that. That's stupid. We don't give him any more airtime on this pod.
They draw Vision as a sexy robot lady, and I was I'm not really interested in what this story has to say.
Yeah, it's a girl robot with because as we all know, youngling robots really need their milk.
Yep. What did we say? What did we say last? You said last week, Zach. There's 2 different types of comic book ladies.
Sexy good ones and sexy evil ones.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And we love them both.
Exactly. Yeah. And we don't know which one Silver Sable is yet. We'll see.
That's true. There's got to be one of them.
Okay, so Silver Sable Part 2. This is the same creative team that did Part 1. Peter is sitting in the Midtown High library, and he's got this goofy and love smirk across his face. And we can see the thoughts of Mary Jane, who's sitting across the library watching him. And she's thinking to herself, "What are you so happy about, Peter Parker? What the hell are you so happy about? You break up with me, and you're sitting there smiling? It's one thing to be as miserable as me, but don't just sit over there with a stupid smirk on your face. What the hell are you so happy about? And then we get a chance to see Peter's inner monologue. And he... Sometimes my own notes do kind of make me laugh. He's thinking to himself, you are doing a great job, Mr. Peter Parker. You're dating an X-Men. You're living the good life, man. And he's thinking to himself about whether or not he could tell Aunt May that he's dating an X-Men without her piecing it together that he is Spider-Man. And he kind of decides, like, no, he probably can't do that. And just as he's thinking about this, Kong walks up and he's looking for Flash. And he asks Peter if he's seen Flash. And Peter says he doesn't have a wedgie right now, so Flash isn't around probably. And he doesn't really care that much that Flash is missing. And Kong tries to call Flash again, and we see that Flash is unconscious, surrounded by Silver Sable and the other goons. And Silver Sable wants to know who's responsible. Yeah, what's up, Zach?
Did you notice the name of the fake phone brand of Flash's flip phone?
Toyota Roller.
Toyota Rolla.
That's funny.
It's Motorola and Toyota combined.
Okay, so what do you think, Zach? You're always good for some commentary on our Mary Jane and Peter relationship drama.
I feel bad being so happy that he's with Kitty because I see how sad Mary Jane is. She is like...
I know, she should just transfer to another school so we don't have to deal with her anymore. Out of sight, out of mind.
I wish Norman would throw her off the bridge again and this time finish the job. No, it's sad because you can tell she's like definitely not over him, and he's not giving her even a second thought. He's just like, oh boy, I have a girlfriend again. This is great. Everything's looking up for me.
Yeah. Yeah, it does seem like Peter's relationships like aren't that they're very like surface level. They're just like, I like my girlfriend, and if I don't have a girlfriend, I like other girls, so I want to have a girlfriend. I don't know. I didn't say that right, but it's not like, you know,
dude, she should matter to you. Mary Jane should.
Every girl just fills the role of girlfriend, and that's it.
I mean, he should be psyched about dating Kitty. I'm glad it's going well with him and her, but like, he doesn't even notice that Mary Jane is sitting at the same table as him. He's just like staring off into distance.
He's in love. He's dating a friggin' X-Men. Okay. Are you telling me you wouldn't be doing the same thing?
Oh, I would absolutely be doing the same thing. I just would maybe feel a little bit bad for it while I'm doing it.
I want it. Okay. So we see that Spider-Man. Nope. Sorry. We're with Silver Sable and the goons, right?
So not Spider-Man.
Not Spider-Man. And Flash is unconscious. And Silver Sable wants to know who's responsible for this mix-up. And the goons tell her that they saw Spider-Man going behind the dumpster, and then they went down there and they grabbed this guy. And then we get to see the memory of what actually happened, which is Spider-Man was about to jump down behind the dumpsters, but he saw Flash, so he kind of went back up to the top of the building, and at that point, Flash got kidnapped. Just as Spider-Man left. So Silver Sable tells the other goons to get rid of the kid. And they're like, whoa, what do you mean get rid of him? He's just a kid, you know? And she's like, it's your problem, get rid of him.
John, have you ever heard the saying the buck stops here? Because she hasn't.
Well, it was the other people's fault, but also all we've seen of this character is she's kicked a 16-year-old kid, and now she's like giving the order to kill the same kid. So I think she's going to be one of our sexy evil ladies if I just had to put her into a pile.
Let's call her misunderstood right now until the kid actually dies.
Okay, that's a good plan. Yeah. So the goons are arguing if they should kill Flash or not. When Flash jumps up and like does a big punch on all of them and runs out the building screaming, and the goons start blasting, but he escapes. And Silver Sable runs after him, and she says, "This isn't good." Do you have any thoughts about that scene before I give mine?
Yeah, I was expecting them, these like whatever mercenaries or spies or whatever they are, to like he has a 10-foot head start on you. And they have guns. I was expecting them to find Flash and recapture him pretty easily. We find out that didn't happen. So like. She acts the whole time like it was one, incompetence of them grabbing the wrong person. But I'm thinking maybe just you and all the people who work for you are just, in general, incompetent. Maybe like you can't do anything right because you should have captured him here.
Yeah. These guys seem pretty incompetent. It's one thing when you've got like Spider-Man wrapped up and he takes out like 3 people and manages to escape. It's another thing when Flash Thompson does the same thing.
Yeah.
When normal 16-year-old high school bully Flash Thompson is able to pummel 3 goons with 1 punch and then run out of the building. These guys, I know where they got their training, Zach. These are former S.H.I.E.L.D. agents.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. S.H.I.E.L.D. wasn't morally questionable enough for them, so they had to start a similar agency that's like 99% the same.
Yep. If someone's unconscious, you just turn your back and assume they're going to stay that way. Okay? They never wake up. So, at school the next day, Kitty Pryde is waiting for Peter outside the school, and she's wearing these little bitty sunglasses to remain inconspicuous. And Kitty says she got bored at the X Mansion, so she guilted Storm into flying her over to Peter's high school for a couple hours. And Peter is really happy, and it's really cute. And he says he's going to call in sick to work. And he and Kitty walk away smiling with Kitty holding onto his arm. And poor MJ witnesses all of this. Oh,
she looks so distraught.
I know. It would be better for everyone if she just transferred schools.
Can we get this sad girl out of our
Maybe she should go live with her dad.
Or Gwen Stacy's mom.
No. Yeah. No, poor MJ. What? Can she just find a man? I'm telling you, I'd be better at writing stories. I would give everyone a happy ending all the time. No drama or character growth ever.
I think you're onto something. Yeah, she really should go back to that senior who plays in a punk band and plays basketball.
Dude, she should. Yeah. He was dude.
A goofball, but whatever.
Yeah.
Have some fun, girl.
Definitely. So we go to a bar where Silver Sable and the goons are watching a news story about high school student Fred Thompson, who was kidnapped at school because people thought he was Spider-Man. And Silver Sable asks the group if Mr. Roxxon has called back, but he hasn't. So the insinuation in this scene is that she is waiting for Roxxon to call back and kind of like, I would guess, like yell at them for not doing the job properly.
Or fire them.
Or fire them. But he hasn't called back. So we then cut to Mr. Roxxon, who's walking out to his car, and when he gets in, Silver Sable's already in the back seat and says, "You don't return phone calls anymore?" And Roxxon is unhappy with how Sable did I just said at like the kidnapping Spider-Man plan because I didn't really even know what the goal was for all of this. Because Spider-Man's not even like the end goal, right? They just want to find out who's attacking them. They just want to talk to him. So they're still like very far away from actually accomplishing that plan. And even if they get Spider-Man, that's not going to help them solve that plan. So these guys are really spinning their wheels over here.
You know the easiest way to talk to Spider-Man? Set something on fire. Or stage a robbery at your place. And then he gets there and you're like, hey, actually, it's all good. I just wanted a word.
That's true. I wonder how he would respond to that. So Roxanne is like, you guys, you suck at your job, you know. So I don't want to do business with you anymore. And Silver Sable, who, as we all know, has a strong moral compass, knows that she's only as good as her word. So she promises to finish this job and find and kidnap Spider-Man and find out who's messing up Mr. Roxanne's business for free. And Roxanne says she has 3 days to find out before he hires someone else to clean up this mess. And Peter is back at home with Kitty Pryde, regaling his tale of fighting a huge rhinoceros man when he gets a call. And it's from MJ. And she quietly says, hey. And Peter says, hi. And she asks if he is watching TV before Peter says, what's on TV? And MJ hangs up depressingly. And Peter and Kitty turn on the tube to see the story about Flash being kidnapped. And they see that there's now a total media circus outside of Midtown High School because Flash says he heard the kidnappers talking. And the reason they grabbed him from the school is because they think Spider-Man either goes to the school or teaches at that high school. Uh-oh. That's, what do we think about this, Zach? I just like to get your opinion on stuff throughout the reading.
He's definitely the resource teacher at the school.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a resource teacher over there who's like weirdly athletic and kind of good at everything. Like he's using his powers to just be slightly better at sports than all of his peers.
Yeah, that guy seems suspicious.
Yeah. He can jump very moderately higher than you would think he'd be able to. So let's see. Peter and MJ go into school the next day.
Before that, we get some students and staff getting interviewed. And this is the first time we see Tandy Bowen. And it says student council president. So I guess she won that election that's been getting advertised for like 30 issues.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
We kept seeing
congrats,
Tandy Bowen for president in the hallways.
That's a good Easter egg.
Yeah. Yeah.
We also see Flash is getting interviewed, and he's like, or Kong is getting interviewed, and he's like, yeah, Flash is my best friend. And also, I was in the Spider-Man movie. I even had a line.
Good soundbite.
Yeah. And so Peter and MJ meet up at school to kind of sort of discuss what's happening, but they can't really even talk because there's a million microphones around picking up everything that everybody is saying around them. And Peter asks why MJ hung up so suddenly last night, and she just says, you had company, and she looks down and sad. And Peter says, oh, and MJ says, yeah, so I'm not okay? And that came out of nowhere, huh, Zach?
Yeah, that hit me like a ton of bricks. That
was very surprising to turn the page and get that.
Sometimes it's like lost on me how long ago this was. This was the 2000s. This was full on the 2000s.
Oh my gosh, I was rewatching Dexter like a month ago, and man, they throw that word around like all the time, like just. And it's just like nothing, and it's like, God, that is how people like used to speak back then, Dude,
the Black Eyed Peas song that was on the radio.
Yeah.
I had that as a tooth tune. You remember the like a little kid brushes their teeth and it plays a song?
Really? Oh my gosh, that's funny. Yeah.
It was the Let's Get It Started version, but everyone knew what the song really was. Yeah.
So Peter thinks to himself about how much he sucks because he told MJ he can't date her, and now he's running around the city dating Kitty, even though he knows that the reason for that is because Kitty can take care of herself. So I don't think he's doing anything wrong. It's not his fault that, he is still sticking to his guns here,
Yeah. I just found, I don't know why this is so funny to me. Look in the panel in the bottom left corner of page 19. There's a kid in the background.
Talking about the kid with the huge samurai sword on his back.
There's a kid in high school with like the most severe receding hair, like male pattern bald face.
Oh my gosh, that is an adult man.
It looks like George Costanza, and he's got a whole sword taking up the entire back of his shirt.
This guy needs to be escorted from the premises immediately.
That shirt goes hard, unironically. Oh my god, it's the guy from the van. He's here to hit on teenage girls.
Oh my gosh, he's infiltrated. That could be, dude. That legitimately could be a fun joke drawing that they put in, because otherwise, I mean, this dude, I would want to scroll back and look at that guy's receding hairline to see if they match up.
Eagle 1 to Silver Sable. The fox is in the hen house.
So Peter is sulking through the halls when suddenly he's stopped by a police officer with two other police officers next to him, and they say, "Could you open your sack, please?" And we know Peter's Spider-Man outfit is in his book bag. Him and MJ mentioned it earlier. And they say, "Could you open your sack, please?" Random bag check. And Peter's face looks scared and shocked. To be continued. How's he going to get out of this one?
Dude, I don't know.
I mean, I think the sign of a good issue is when you finish reading it and it's like, oh, I didn't know that the issue was about to end there. Because a lot of times I'm reading it and I'm looking forward to getting to the end, and then this time it's like, oh, it's going to end right there.
Yeah.
Are they going to find his suit in his bag?
Now, John, technically the issue didn't end there because we do still have the bonus story about the sexy Vision.
Yep. Yeah, and
it doesn't answer your question.
And I scrolled through it really quickly, and it looks like she turns into a Groot sexy Vision or something. She's got a weird face, I don't know. Didn't read it.
We're missing part 3.
And then
part 3 must have been published in a different book.
And then her and another guy in a suit are floating in space at the end.
Yeah.
And
kind of confusing.
Good. It was pretty good.
Glad we're not trying to untangle that ball.
No. So I gave this one a 7.5 out of 10. I thought it was slightly better than the last one, but I didn't feel it was quite good enough to get it up into an 8. Just because still... we're still kind of building the story, I feel like.
Yeah. Yep. I agree with all of that.
And we still just haven't Silver Sable is really not I don't know why she's a character. I mean, she could be any goon,
I mean, it's fun to imagine her as the sexy female Nick Fury goon.
She's
she's
terrible at her job.
Yeah, failing upward, getting second chances.
Okay, I kind of like that.
Yeah, that's what she's shown so far. One thing that I liked was all of the scenes with Kitty, but then one thing I didn't like is that all of the scenes with Kitty are they're made to show us how sad Mary Jane is, and it's okay, I get that. I like that. I like Mary Jane as a character. I want her to be happy. But inevitably, when Peter and Kitty don't work out and he goes back to Mary Jane, are you really going to give that same treatment to Kitty and dedicate page space to how much this hurts her?
Well, are they going to break up?
I don't know.
Or are they going to get married?
Or one of them has to die, right?
Or hopefully, one of them just dies.
We love all these characters so much.
And then the problem solves itself.
We just hope they die, so nothing bad can ever happen to them.
I would just hate to see their heart get broken. I'd rather see them killed than have their heart broken.
That's your villain origin story. You're like, what is it? Like John Lennon's killer, you know? Like, oh, I love them so much, I have to take their life.
Yes. No, I'm not. Okay, so
is that Percy?
What's our? Yeah, this is Percy. Percy's been chilling with me a bunch.
Hi, Percy.
Percy, there he is.
Hello.
Yeah.
What a handsome lad.
He is a handsome. Do you want to get a screenshot? He's like staring perfectly.
He is. Have him keep doing that.
Percy. Oh, we're not gonna get him.
Yeah. Typical cat. The second you want him to do something.
As soon as you pull the phone out. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so what's this one out of?
I don't know,
Has she already beat up Flash, or was that in the last issue? Maybe out of like 10, 16-year-olds beaten up by adults?
I love it. Okay. Yeah, 7.5.
7.5. Yeah, 7 16-year-olds and 1 8-year-old.
I was just thinking one 16-year-old kind of held their own.
Nope.
Okay. Love it. No mercy. All right. You got anything else, Spider-Man?
No, I don't think I do have anything else Spider-Man related.
Okay, so John, in the spirit of being a sports podcast, do you know anything about arena football?
No.
Okay.
No.
I was a big arena football fan back in the day, and my favorite team was the Philadelphia Soul. Do you know who started the Philadelphia Soul? I bet you know this, if for no other reason than it was on Always Sunny.
Oh, this is Mr. Bon John Jovi.
Bovine Joni.
Bovine Joni. Yep.
Yeah, John Bon Jovi started the Philadelphia Soul. But
Mr. Bovine Joni himself.
The funniest part of that scene is he had just said his name right like 2 seconds earlier. So my favorite team, the Philadelphia Soul, been watching them since I was like in middle school. They posted on Instagram today that they're holding open tryouts for the team on February 16th.
Gosh.
And of course, I started thinking of the Mark Wahlberg movie Invincible.
Yep.
And I'm like, that could be me.
Yeah, it could be.
There's no reason it couldn't. John doesn't think I have what it takes to be a pro football player. He says I'd make a great coach. My wife doesn't think I have what it takes. She says you're uncoordinated.
In you, Zach. Use that.
She says you're uncoordinated, injury prone, and need to be in physical therapy because you're so weak.
But
no one believes in me.
Yeah.
Which is exactly why I should. I think they play both ways. I think their kickers are just like linemen.
Okay.
Trust me, I thought about it.
I think you should go. Maybe if the listeners can raise money for the plane ticket, Zach will go and try out.
It costs $50 and you have to wear football cleats, and I would easily pay for the cleats and the $50 just to say I did it, just for the experience.
Dude,
knowing I'm not going to make the team.
If you showed up at that and you did it, you would get knocked the out so quickly. Like,
I'm thinking not. I'm thinking it's going to be like the NFL Combine. They're just going to do like a 3-cone drill. They're going to do your 40-yard dash. They're going to see how much you can bench. They're going to run a couple routes with you, and then no one's going to get a call back. Like, it's just a fun little afternoon.
This is just like the It's Always Sunny episode.
Evaluation.
Like,
I've got a friend who's down to go with me.
Because you guys all like the Mark Wahlberg movie.
So I've been thinking about it more and more. Originally, it started out as like, oh, that's a funny joke. Wouldn't it be crazy if I went? And now I'm like, what do I have to lose?
Dude,
one of three things is going to happen. I'm going to go. It's never stopped me before. I've had concussions before, baby.
Yeah,
I just keep
that's
moving.
fine. I hear they get better with age. The more the merrier, like Christmas.
One of three things is going to happen. A, I'm going to get there, and there's going to be no one. I'm just the only one trying out. And
That'd be awesome.
there's no one
Make
to
the
embarrass
team.
myself in front of. Well, I don't know that someone has to make the team. I think they're just seeing if there's anyone worth getting. Number two, I show up, and it's like the team from Dodgeball. It's a bunch of people like me, and none of us are any good, and that's part of the fun. Or number three, I get there and there's like actual dudes who played in high school or maybe, a little bit in college. And
that's what it's going to be.
And then, but what does everyone say about things like that? Like the Olympics, everyone's like, we should have one ordinary person down there on the track with Usain Bolt to see the comparison.
Yeah.
I would be that person.
Yep.
I just hang out. I just chop it up with them. And the thing is, for like the first 5 minutes when I walk in, I'm taping everything up. I'm putting on my eye black. I'm doing my strides and drills. They don't know the difference. For like 5 glorious moments, I am a peer to these potential pro athletes.
No, you don't. You realize that you still look like you and not a professional athlete, right?
They don't know what position I play.
Yeah. I mean, maybe if you were trying out for baseball, then they could realistically be like, all right, maybe this dude can like hit singles and play first base, Who knows? Zach,
no.
I hate to break it to you, but looking at you, there's no position on the football field that I would be like, I can see him, except for kicker. You could maybe play kicker, Maybe that talent's hidden.
Okay. Respectfully, you're wrong, and I have evidence to prove it.
Okay.
When I was in college, I worked for the ISU football team because I wanted to be a scout, and my job was to like lead around high schoolers that were there on their recruitment visits during the games. And if we won, which was rare, I would escort them down to the locker room so that they could witness like the post game, the party in the locker room and be like, hey, this is cool. I want to come here. And on one of those visits, I'm in an ISU polo, and I clearly look like a senior in college, not a senior in high school. And I also have pretty much the same body I have now. And one of the players comes up to me.
Also known as a professional NFL player's body.
Yes. Hey, not NFL, arena football. I'm realistic.
Okay. Yep, sorry.
One of the ISU players comes up to me and is like, welcome to the team, brother. And I didn't have the heart to tell him I've been going to this school longer than you.
See, I think you could show up and pretend to be like the equipment manager or a scout and just kind of like fake your way into a position on the team. Just go up to one of the other coaches and be like, 53 over here is looking pretty good, don't you think? Terry told me he wanted me to come over here and talk to you about the DNs.
As funny as that would be, no, I take my craft seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and the more you tell me I can't do it, the more I want to do it.
Try it. Do it.
Yeah. Then that's more fuel for the pod.
Yep.
There's like let's say 1 in 1,000 chance. They're like, we need, I don't know, 30 players to field a roster, or the league won't let us have one. And we have 29 actual football players. But this Zach Armour from Franklin, Indiana, he's a good locker room guy. Let's bring him in for morale. Yep. And I would leave my good paying, cushy government job in a heartbeat to make $15 an hour as a professional football player.
Are there any ex-cubicle workers who have good attitudes that would mind coming in here and just like cracking jokes during practice or something. There's no one in all of Philadelphia that can do this. Is there anyone in the surrounding area of the country?
I'm the kid that just yells, "Damn it, you guys, coach is right. If we want to win, it's on us." I mean, Kurt Warner was bagging groceries before he started his
That
NFL
is true.
Hall of Fame career.
That is actually true. Yep. Yeah, maybe you could do it.
Tom
Maybe
Brady was
I
a
could do it,
sixth-round
Zach.
draft pick. Come and try out with me.
I've always thought if I didn't break my knee in third grade when football was getting started, and because of that, I missed the start of the year. By the time I got to play, the year is mostly over. All they had were linemen. I'm like the smallest kid ever. So, I just got destroyed. Never played football again. If I hadn't broken my knee and I played QB, Zach, you'd see my name in lights. That'd be me playing at Arrowhead this Sunday.
I mean, to be fair, I do believe a healthy John Opak could beat out some of the Chiefs' wide receivers.
No, I'm a quarterback.
Oh, okay.
No, Zach, yeah, I'm a quarterback.
Of course you are.
And
you are, honey.
And we did win the intramural flag football championship in college. So
that's good.
And IU's a big school.
It is.
So could you and I play professionally in the AFL? I mean, who's to say? I'm starting to believe we could the more we talk about this.
Right? And John, I don't know if you know this about me. I won the Mental Attitude Award in my 8th grade football team.
I think I have heard that from you before.
And I was open constantly that year. I didn't catch anything, but I was always open. I'm a really good... I don't want to say decoy because I'm the opposite of that. They don't guard me. They see me and they're like, easy out, move up, don't even cover this guy, just blitz. And then I'm like 40 yards downfield like a ghost and no one knew what hit him.
There's something sad about coaching basketball this year. And, the Zachs on our team who are always just wide open under the basket. And I'm just like,
for a reason.
And I'm like, okay, at least guard them, at least make them think, I don't want to have them standing there and be like, I'm open all game, put a man on them.
It's so disrespectful.
It is.
And that's what's going to be feeding into me. I've had 28 years of that. And then I'm going to get on the field and it'll be like
concussed.
It'll be like the water boy. Somehow I will just like everything that I've bottled down my whole life will come out in like a burst at the right time. I truly believe that.
Okay. Well, let me know if you go.
I want to. I'm trying to find. There's not a lot of same day round trip flights.
There's not a chance you're gonna go.
Dude, I was looking at flights, Amtrak, and the bus schedule today. There's a chance I'm gonna go.
Okay. I'd love it. That'd be awesome. You should. Listeners, write in and tell Zach he should go. Give him some motivation here.
I will go. It's just with the current travel availabilities, it's not looking like it. But if something were to come up, if there was a Spirit red-eye round trip where I only had to take one day off work, I didn't even need a place to stay. I could just stay awake or go back to the airport and crash on like a bench. I would do it. I'm not kidding you.
Okay, I believe it. All right, I'm eager to check back in after your New York trip and see if maybe there's an update.
Okay.
Okay.
Will do. Listeners, if you want to help me fund my travel to follow my dream as a professional athlete, write in. I'll give you my Cash App.
Yeah. But you have to use it for the trip.
I will. Why would I use it for something else?
You're just kind of a skeevy guy.
No.
I don't know.
I'm so serious.
I'm just kidding. Zach is like the least skeevy guy ever.
Who wants to watch me, as John would say, get knocked the f*** out?
Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else about your football career
that
you
was
want to
it.
talk about? Okay.
Thanks for not taking it seriously.
I'm taking it more seriously towards the end of the conversation than I did at the start. Okay. Is there anything else? I'm trying to think if I had anything at all.
Oh, sorry. Okay, there is
today.
one more thing. I have a coworker that actually played some D2 ball, and
Okay.
he was trying to see if he could transfer to like Ball State and play some D1, but he like tore his ACL. But he's still a gym rat. He's super strong and everything, and he's younger than me. And I told him today, I was like, dude, I'm probably going to go as a joke, but you should go for real. And he laughed at me.
Yeah, that's yeah. I don't know how else to respond but with laughter.
So, Montarius, when I'm on ESPN 8 The Ocho and you're still in the cubicle, just remember, I offered you a way out.
Yep. Okay, I remember what my small thing was. Did you know that there's a new Disney Plus show on? There's Echo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it.
Kingpin's in it.
Yeah.
Kind of a lot, and he's just such a treat, man. Vincent D'Onofrio. So it's actually pretty good.
Have you finished it?
Yes, I did finish it, and there is a scene at the end during like the big like climactic fight where I don't know, Echo does something. She like taps into her powers and she does something and she does like a big punch on Kingpin in like a weird way. And he's like going up to do his big Kingpin smash, like Kingpin's always doing. And she hits him in his stomach, kind of like both hands. And it immediately reminded me of in Hot Rod when they do the punch that makes you yourself.
Oh no.
And anyway, she like made Kingpin like see some like vision of himself or whatever, but then after it he comes out of it and he's like, like she made him himself.
Three ghosts visit Kingpin in the night and he turns into a worse person because of it. No, I hate to be a Hot Rod snob, but that's like my favorite comedy. I think you're thinking of The Ultimate Punch, where he punches with two hands and kicks with a foot, and it never does anything. Because that is hilarious.
No, but he
does the yourself move. But it looks...
is that that's when she just like knocks him? Yeah, I think I am thinking of like the Ultimate Punch, but
because that looks cooler. The Ultimate Punch is hilarious because you say it as you do it, you declare it, and then it never lands.
That's right. Yeah,
because I be doing that.
But
catch me in a serious fight, calling out Ultimate Punch before I get slept.
But it's probably worth watching. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
I'll watch all that trash. Just keep making it.
Doesn't he like lose an eye?
Yeah, because Echo shot him in the face at the end of the Hawkeye TV show.
Huh, that's crazy. That's not comic accurate.
Actually, he is like blind at some point in the comics. He does have like tape on his eyes in the comics because he was like shot in the face.
Really?
But in this one, he just like has it over one eye, and then like halfway through, they just like take it off. So
and he still has an eye again?
Yeah. So I think they really just kind of did that to be like, it's like the comics where he's blind,
I didn't even know there was such a comic.
Yep. Because it's like parallels with Daredevil, because Daredevil's also blind.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
How about that? I keep saying I need
people.
Two blind people?
Yep.
I keep saying I need to read more Daredevil, and then I don't.
Yeah. Yeah, it made me want to rewatch the Daredevil TV show.
It was so good.
Give that one a run through. I know, it is. Yeah. This is supposed to be this Echo show. I think when when Kingpin showed up in the Hawkeye TV show, I think people were like, oh, he's really been like toned down for the MCU. They've like Disneyfied him. Like he's not as like brutal or anything. You get the Kingpin scenes in this of him just like fucking pummeling some guy, you know, and just like not stopping. And you're like, oh yeah, that's the Kingpin that we all love. Just
love it.
Just go after him.
Yeah, Netflix Kingpin was not a guy you wanted to piss off.
The scene I'm like in particular talking about is like this little ice cream vendor was like mean to Echo as like a little girl, and Kingpin like hops out of the car. He's like, wait here. And he just goes and beats the out of him in an alley. It's like, dude, okay, chill.
Love it. Street justice.
Yep.
Dude, what is the difference between him and Daredevil then?
There isn't one. I'll tell you what the difference is. Kingpin doesn't hide behind a mask.
These vigilantes, they're all menaces.
Yep.
Love it. Mic drop. Wisdom from Johnny O.
Yes. Okay. We have anything else?
Not that I can think of. I'll keep you updated as I follow my AFL dreams. I'll tell you how New York went.
Yeah.
Listeners, write in. Tell us what you're doing.
Keep a little list in your phone or something, you know, when you see stuff in New York and you're like, oh, I got to remember that for the pod.
I will definitely see more than a few things that have appeared in our series, and I'll be like geeking out about them.
Nice.
Some of them you won't even know yet. I'll take a picture of like a certain thing, and like I won't even be able to share it with you because I'm like, that hasn't happened yet.
Oh my gosh. Now that'll be exciting.
Yeah. Really, I could probably take the whole trip just to like sightsee Marvel Comics locations, but that would be a waste.
Oh my gosh.
It would be cold.
Something else, speaking of Marvel comic locations, I know I have brought up before that my sister and I went to the Tony Stark cabin from Avengers Endgame, and we stayed there on that property for a couple days, and like so many of the scenes from the movies are filmed there. But it's also so many of like the scenes from these shows are filmed there that now it is fun watching Echo, and they'll be like walking around in like the woods in front of like some stuff, and it's like, oh my god, that's like exactly where, you know, literally like Caitlin and I were there. So it's pretty cool, you know. I'm a sucker for sightseeing nerdy stuff.
You should have carved your name into one of the trees and like look for it.
We left marks there that like, you know, not that we'd be able to see it from like the TV or anything, but you know, like we carved our initials into like Captain America's bench and everything, and like, you know, did some here's where the snap happened. We like did some stuff, you know. It was fun.
Tom Holland's filming something, and he's like, Tom Holland, call this number 317. What is this?
That's what we should have done.
Yeah. Next time.
Yep.
All right.
Okay. Do we have anything else?
I don't. Do you?
I have, before I send us out here, I actually have a comment, Zach, that you've got to go and read on the spot. This one really made me laugh here. So this is from Matt Koenig, who I think he's written in before, right? That name sounds familiar.
I recognize that name.
And he said, just wanted to let you guys know that this is what I picture every time you say Peter is Spider-Manning. And it's a picture. Can you see it, Zach?
I love it. That's exactly what we mean.
It's a picture of Peyton Manning with a very crudely photoshopped head of Spider-Man on it. And that is so funny. I never once like read it in that way before, like Spider-Manning. That's awesome. He says, anyways, love the show. Keep up the good work. Thanks, Matt.
And thank you for making it a Colts jersey, not a Broncos jersey.
Yep. Perfect.
Love it.
Yep. Okay. Well, thank you to Ian Hickey for the music and Alyssa Seaman for the artwork. And thank you all for listening and leaving us a review or a comment. You can find us, the First Read Ultimate Spider-Man podcast, on Spotify or Apple Music or anywhere else that you find podcasts. And you can come and chat with us and leave us a message on Instagram at First Read Podcast. Send us an email at firstreadspidey@gmail.com or find us on YouTube, First Read Ultimate Spider-Man podcast. See you next week. Have fun in New York, Zach.